Ended up arriving to the ice rink at 7 p.m. and I did get to skate for 30 minutes, and again, I was happy, but for half an hour. And in all the rush, I came home and started thinking, you know what? This is not living. So it all started that night. I realized I was working so hard at a job that I wasn't happy at so that I can enjoy the scraps of the day, like 5 minutes here and 30 minutes there, convincing myself that I'm living a purposeful life because evidently I'm busy, and sometimes I did feel glimpses of happiness during the day. But not until that night did I realize, boy, I was unhappy. And that changed everything. It's actually pretty crazy to me how you can live your life not even realizing how miserable you actually feel until you kind of face it and admit it to yourself. And once I took a bite of my reality, I started to see how stressed and burnt out I was at my job. And the burnout started to kick in. And boy, did it kick in. Every counting day from that on, I started to hate every second of my job. I complained to my friends every day, and I wouldn't say it was dentistry itself, but my workplace that had a lot of problems. But I decided I'm not going to rant about them on a YouTube video. And on the flip side, I started to realize how much more I loved cooking and making videos. And also, I realized how much of my other aspects of life was slipping away. I basically stopped calling my parents and barely had time to meet friends other than calling them. So I was starting to feel like I wanted to quit. But there was one thing that I was addicted to at my work, and it was the stability that my job brought me. Regular work hours, weekly paycheck, 401k, medical, dental, pharmacy benefits. They would even pay for my glasses, and they never asked me to work on weekends, and even PTO. In any other job, I know this might be standard, but as a dentist, believe it or not, benefits are usually really hard to come by, and we always have to pay out of pocket for everything else. So PTO, it was a luxury. And as a Korean person, I was raised to idolize stability. I don't know if you would understand unless you grew up in a conservative Korean family, and I can only speak for my own life, but stability is often our ultimate goal and pride and idol. And that's why so many Koreans take on licensed professions like lawyer, dentist, or doctor or pharmacist that will guarantee a stable pay. And growing up, an atypical or creative career path was often frowned upon by parents and wasn't always met with support. And so was mine. My creativity bloomed and flourished as a child, but as I got closer to getting into college, I had to kind of bottle it up and call them all hobbies. And I was told again and again to set aside my hobbies as hobbies and to take a safe path as a first-gen immigrant in the US. So here I was, complaining every single day, feeling more miserable each day, and it got to the point where I felt like I was wasting my life 40 hours a week choosing to do something that was no longer my calling. And yet I was so scared of letting go of that stable paycheck. But at that point, it didn't even make much sense why I was so terrified of quitting, because my social media job was doing quite well as a business, and it was starting to show some concrete, stable income. So at this point, I wasn't even taking that much of a risk, and still I was tormented at the thought of letting this job go. So yesterday, I could not talk to my boss because one, I was so busy, and then two, still having cold feet about quitting. And once I learned these things about myself, I started working on them from the inside out. I identified the exact voices that were bogging me down, that repeatedly reminded me that 1, you will fail without your stable job. 2, I don't believe in you, as in I don't believe in myself. And 3, making this mistake will be very, very bad. And quickly realized that no one other than myself will be the voice that changes this. So I sat down one day and I recorded this video. It's been really hard because I've been influenced by some external things all my life to be on the right path. But I realized today I woke up and I kind of, I was praying and
I felt like God was saying, it's gonna be okay, you're gonna quit today, and I will lead every step of the way. So other than God's voice, I also feel like sometimes I feel like I have to be my own mom, I have to be my own dad. So, this morning I was thinking, you know what, I have to be my own biggest supporter and the influence in my own head, even if things go wrong. So, Maddie, all I have to say to you is that you're young. This is the first time you're trying something new and exciting. It's gonna be great. And even if you fail, so be it. You failed, you tried, and it's gonna be a valuable experience.
And every single morning when I woke up, I turned on the video. And I also went to church, listened to an affirmation podcast, and in 1 week, yes, it really just took 1 week of feeding myself with the right kind of encouragement, I gave my notice. This is me drafting my letter of resignation on my phone, and I used the office printer to print out the letter, and that was it. I gave my 2 weeks. And the moment I did, I had this feeling that I would never ever be the same person ever again. All my life, I let myself drift in the direction of whatever the world around me was telling me to be. I worked so hard to achieve what I thought was destined for me, and for the first time in my entire life, at 28, I decided to create my own path. Be my own boss, envision a dream, believe in myself, the process, and let life unravel as I choose which path to take. And that's a story of how I woke up pinching myself saying, I quit! By the way, I did keep a little safety plan, so I didn't abandon my dentist life altogether, but I found a part-time job, so I work once or twice a week as a dentist. And I freed up most of my week to do more of what I love, which is making videos, talking to you guys, cooking, vlogging, podcasting, and maybe more writing. And I'm still trying to fine-tune and figure out this new life and mentality, but I can for sure answer the one question without a doubt. Am I happier? Yes, I am. And even through the ups and downs of pursuing what I want in my life, I don't think I'll ever look back.